Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 265. I am Brendan. 1FC Fight Night 10, Johnson versus Moraes 3. What a great night of fights, man. Everything, start to finish, it was fantastic. There was lots of quick finishes, lots of good stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. I'm going to cover the entire card here. We're going to break down each fight or grappling match round by round or as a whole as they're done. And then we'll talk about how I feel about 1FC going forward. I really like, spoiler alert, I like it. Anyway, real quick before we get in the DJ fight, subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of stuff. And the next video is coming out. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out. And then, like I said, it'll put a notification. So cool. Let's get started. DJ. So, a little bit of history here. Demetrious Johnson and Adriano Moraes have fought twice, right? The first time, Adriano Moraes landed a knee when DJ was down, which is legal, getting the KO finish. Then they had a rematch last year, 2 years ago. They had a rematch, and DJ finished Moraes with a knee. So this one, there was a lot of hype on it. There was a lot of expectations. It wasn't the most exciting fight to watch at all times, that's for sure. But what's to be expected when you see guys like this who have fought each other, for this much time in the cage? I thought the fight was fine. I thought the fight, had enough excitement in the moments that it did, but a lot of it was in the clinch, and there wasn't a ton of damage being thrown out either direction. So early on, there's leg kicks from DJ. He was staying light on his feet. That was, the story of the fight, really. He was light on his feet, moving around, and Moraes wanted to clinch. Moraes looked to put the pressure on DJ. DJ circling, landing the leg kick still. Johnson should be up at the end. She should have been up at the end of this first round, but it wasn't by a lot, right? Because neither guy had landed a lot of damage. And then in the second round here, DJ back to the leg kicks. Moraes landed a decent right hand, and Moraes landed a hard left hand and pushed DJ back a little bit in this round. DJ was trying to walk his way into the clinch, but Moraes was able to control DJ against the cage. DJ got a takedown with a nice double leg with only 1 minute left in the second round, but it doesn't matter. They get right back up. So this second round, actually, I after the second round, because Moraes did more work in here, I felt like because he landed more damage, I felt like he evened up the fight. So going in the third round here, I felt like it was even. And if you guys don't know, 1FC does not judge it round by round. It is judged as the fight as a whole. So DJ was pressuring forward in this third round now, looking to test the cardio of Moraes, landing kicks to the body, to the legs. Moraes landing a nice right hand. Then he was working for a takedown. Moraes got a hard warning for grabbing the cage or the gloves. He was doing both. There was a lot of clinch work. I don't think he was doing it egregiously. DJ was landing so many knees to the body in the clinch. Moraes dropped down for a takedown. DJ pulling back ahead after round 3 with the damage that he landed in that clinch for the most part. So I had him back up, and this is where he started to pull away. Left-hander from DJ landed really well. He landed this nice tight hook in this fourth round. DJ landed a right elbow, then a jumping knee in the clinch, and then another elbow. I had him way out in front, ending the fourth round, and I thought Moraes either needed a finish or a huge round to really swing the judges in his direction. Still a ton of clinching. I don't know what the plan for Moraes was, right? So if you look at how the fight played out, Moraes was constantly moving forward, constantly trying to put DJ in the clinch against the cage. He didn't really go for many takedowns. It was more reactionary. He would go for a takedown after taking a shot to the body that he didn't like. And it's almost that his whole game plan was to just hold DJ still. But even when he was doing that, he wasn't landing damage with it. He wasn't doing anything there. And I don't know. Because out in the open, he landed some good shots. I just don't understand what his plan for victory was. Right? If you go this fight, I do recommend it. If you have Amazon Prime, go back and watch this fight just because it's DJ. Every one of his fights is kind of historic at this point. He's probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, mixed martial artist of all time. I often forget about him because he's not in the UFC anymore, and that's not cool. I shouldn't. I often put GSP at the top for me. Anderson Silva is always up there. John Jones is creeping his way up. We'll see how he does in this heavyweight division. But Demetrious Johnson should be up there as well. If DJ should either be, he's tied for first, second, and third with everybody else. His career has been nothing but astounding. Right, it's been destruction from start to finish. He's had a couple. I mean, the losses that he's had, he had that loss to Moraes. Obviously, a much bigger dude, but he's making weight, so whatever. But he lost to him via something that he normally wouldn't have to deal with in the UFC, and then he comes back and beats him. And then his controversial loss to Cejudo, which I still don't. I maintain that he did not lose. In that second fight, he did not lose to Cejudo. That's one of the reasons why he went to ONE FC. So, Demetrious Johnson looked like his plan was, stay on the outside, stay light on the feet, test the cardio, and it looks like he did everything he wanted to do except for getting clinched up like that and getting controlled in the clinch. But even when he was being controlled, he was the one doing damage. He was the one landing knees to the body. He was the one doing stuff, like it landed elbows when they separated. I mean, DJ is so fantastic. He's so squirrely in there. He doesn't allow anybody to control his posture for very long. He's so strong in each one of the positions, and he's, obviously in these lighter weight classes, down to flyweight, you're going to see these guys who are more compact, right? So he's just a bundle of muscle, and he's so low, like he's so small and low to the ground that it's really difficult to do anything to him. And he's got a lot of control over his body. So he's able to put himself in positions and get himself out of positions that a lot of people just can't, regardless of weight class. It's very, very much like a gymnast in that way, right? Where he's very, very aware of where his body position is, of where all of his limbs are. It's not that it doesn't make him perfect. He makes mistakes just like everyone else. And do I think he's a gymnast? No. But he has that type of... it's not proprioception, but he has this, maybe the awareness. He has this type of physical awareness of where he is in space, and it's innate to the way he moves around in there, and it's almost impossible for anybody to hold him still because he's already found a way out of it and putting his body in a position to get out of there. So watching him fight is always, it's always a treat, to be honest. I like watching him fight. I think he's always exciting, even when the fight overall isn't. Great win for him. He said he needs to talk to his wife before he retires. That's obviously he didn't decide before he came in here whether or not he was going to retire. But when he does, we will. It'll be the end of an era for sure, because the guy, like I said, is one of the best, if not the best of all time. Right, he's obviously the best flyweight of all time, but it's hard to compare him to the upper weight classes because you'll get that argument like, oh, well, people don't hit as hard in that division. Okay, great. Well, people in the upper weight classes don't have good cardio. What you want me to say? Other stupid shit. It's so hard to compare them. But this whole pound for pound thing, I think it's pretty obvious. Demetrious Johnson is the best pound for pound fighter. Because if he was bigger and fought like this, he would destroy everyone. All right. Rodtang, Jitmuangnon versus Edgar, Tabares. This was interesting while it lasted. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the longest fight in the world. Right? It did make it to round 2. So, good on Edgar for not getting blasted out of there with one shot. We don't need to show that. Anyway, Rodtang started with the low kicks and the push kicks early. Those are super nasty. Those low kicks were so hard. Rodtang landing the hard right hand, then a left hook. Tabares landing a head kick, but as usual, Rodtang doesn't move. First round went to Rodtang, in my opinion. He landed more and had way more power. Rodtang landed a hard elbow, using his hands a lot more in the second round. He started to open up and use pressure. Rodtang was catching kicks and following up with hooks to the body and elbows, and then a hard, tight left elbow from Rodtang, and it's all over. Holy shit, that was crazy. Just like how tight this is. Just pop right there, and he's down. So freaking ridiculous. Rodtang is a beast. I do like watching Muay Thai when it's people like Rodtang, are really aggressive or going in there. They're not just, playing around and dancing for 15 minutes. It's fun to watch him fight. He does I think he brings a lot more eyes to the sport. I mean, he brought mine. I mean, I appreciate other people, but watching him compete makes me want to watch more Muay Thai. Mikey Musumeci versus Osamah Almarwai. Almarwai? Yeah. Anyway, this fight went the distance, or this grappling match went the distance. Oh, no, it didn't. Sorry, I was thinking about the other one. Almost goes the distance, sorry. Mikey Musumeci, he went for a couple, he got a couple catches like throughout the fight. I think he had like 6 of them. It was crazy. But he kept getting heel hooks and ankle locks, and he was going for more and more and more, and he just would not stop with them. Like, this was the entire here. I think this is a good highlight. This is the entire match. To be honest, the entire match is him cranking on something, and Osamah just not giving into it. Right, and then he eventually uses that to get up, and he gets on top, and then he takes the back, and he ends up getting the rear naked choke finish. And the way he snuck that in was actually kind of cool. He pulled his arm over, so the choking arm, he actually pulled it into place with his free hand, and it's because he trapped the other arm with the legs when he initially got into that position. The dude's a wizard. He really is. I think grappling with him would be a nightmare. It looks like he just can hit a submission from anywhere. He'll go after your legs really easy, and he's so just like DJ in MMA. Musumeci's really squirrely, so he flows with things. He moves really quickly out of them. Doesn't have a lot of excess movement or wasted movement. Doesn't carry a lot of extra body weight on him, so his cardio is good. It's again, if grappling matches involve people like him, it's exciting to watch. I do like that ONE FC does this stuff. All right, Stamp Fairtex versus Alyse Anderson. Stamp gets the win here. She looked really good. Stamp was starting with the body kicks and the low kicks. Anderson was pressuring forward, taking the center. Stamp was landing a left, then a right, stunning Anderson just a bit. Anderson uses the headlock, but Stamp reversed it, gets on top for herself. Anderson was getting it. Anderson started getting hit as she moved in, so I felt like Stamp won that first round, so I had her up going in to the second round here. Stamp landed body kick, and Anderson caught it, and then Stamp used that to climb to the back. Then the ref started telling them to work. Stamp was on the back, right? On the back, searching for a choke, with the hooks in while they were standing, and frickin' the referee's like, work. Now, it didn't get separated because Stamp eventually gives up the legs and lets go of it, but my point is, if he had separated them, that's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, you work to get to that position, and you get it taken away because your opponent's defending. Like, you're on their back. That's as dominant as you can get. And then the knees in the clinch are really strong for Stamp. And then this happens. Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, that kick to the body was something else. Holy shit. Yeah, it caught the far side too, which means it could have been, to the liver, shuts the body down, and she gets the finish there. Like, it wasn't a Muay Thai fight, it was an atomweight MMA fight, but might as well been Muay Thai for the way that she ended that one. Holy crap. That was a hard kick to the body. All right, Roberto Soldic versus Zabaztian Kadestam. This was interesting because I'm obviously not as big on not obviously, but I'm not as big on Soldic as some people were, I guess. He's a big prospect coming in, and he was like people are excited to see him fight. And he's got this hard left hand, but he looks like he's still really raw in his abilities. There was a left hand from him that landed really well, and then Soldic was another combo, starting with the left hand yet again. And then Soldic started chasing him down, landing lefts to the hooks, to the body, to the head. Zabaztian was trying to counter at the end of the round, but Soldic landed way more damage, so I had him ahead in this first round. So, like I said, it's not that he looked bad, I just felt like he looked really raw. And then Kadestam lands a right hand dropping Soldic, and then again, and then drops him again and again and again in a left hand, and he gets the finish. Like, apparently this is a huge upset. So he drops him right there, then he drops him with this right hand, and then he drops him again with another right hand, and then he drops him a third time, I think. Yeah, he does. Unbelievable. Like, there were so many exciting fights. Like I said, if you did not watch this card, I'd go back and watch it. It moves pretty fast. You can fast forward through all the middle parts. There are a lot of finishes. Fun fight to watch. All right, the return of Sage Northcutt taking on Ahmed Mujtaba. So if your guess was, hey, Sage Northcutt's going to win by heel hook, apparently you're Nostradamus. Nobody guessed that. It's fun to watch him, though. He looks, obviously he's older, so he looks more mature. He was using his kicks early, as usual, still kicking really well. Ahmed landed a stiff jab, but then gets on top, and you're like, oh, shit, okay, well, here's the old Sage. He's just going to get dominated on the ground. But then, holy shit, he goes for a heel hook. He goes for the heel hook. So, yeah, he takes the jab, gets down, gets knocked down, then rolls under for the heel hook. Incredible. Sage still has that childlike wonder. He's so happy. He's genuinely looking like he's in a great mood all the time. He's such a happy guy. It's hard to root against him. The only reason I didn't like him when he was in the UFC is because the UFC told me he was going to be the next big thing, and I didn't see it. Right? They were telling me, oh, he's the best. He's the best. Look how good he is. Look how good he is. Look how good he is. And then he gets beat constantly. So I wasn't a big fan of that. I don't dislike Sage Northcutt. I just felt like he needed more time to develop before he became what they were actually talking about. I don't know if that will ever happen based off of what we see, but I'm glad he got the win, and I'm glad he's rounded out his game a little bit. Aung Lan Song versus Fan Rong. This fight was fun. Again, another banger. Let's see here. All right, so Fan was using the lead hand to throw hooks. Song landed a right, and then Rong landed a right back at him. Fan landed another right hand, and then another one as a counter. Two big left hands from Song, and the pressure to end the round. I gave Fan this first round. I felt like he did more damage. And I had him ahead, right? It's not insurmountable. Obviously, Song could come back from that, but it doesn't matter because in the second round, big right hands from Fan, staggering Song. Then he goes for a takedown. Fan goes for a takedown, right? And somehow, Song gets the goddamn guillotine and gets the finish. It's so crazy how it happened, too. Right? He lands that right hand, eventually goes for the takedown here. And with no hooks in, no nothing, he just locks up this high elbow guillotine. Not even a high elbow guillotine. This modified guillotine. Almost like the Ezekiel from the back. It's weird. I'm sure there's a name for that one, and I'm sure everybody will make fun of me. But super cool. Yeah, I did not see that coming. If you told me like those two, like Sage Northcutt's fight and Aung Lan Song's fight, we're gonna end via submission, I'd be like, oh, you're wrong. All right, Reinier de Ritter versus Ty Ruotolo. This fight, it's a grappling match. So this one went the distance. This one was actually interesting, even though, again, I can understand why people don't like this kind of stuff because there was a lot of hand fighting. There's a lot of positioning. Well, they're standing up. There wasn't a ton. There was barely any work on the ground. It didn't happen until right at the end. Lots of collar ties, hand fighting for the first minute. Ruotolo looking for an arm drag to get the back. Couldn't really get it. And eventually, when he did get the back, RDR gets out of it. Ruotolo was pushing RDR towards the fence. RDR went for a hip toss. Ruotolo grabbed the back, but Ritter got out of it. Ruotolo gets the takedown with 30 seconds left, and then RDR goes for the guillotine. So this position here was actually interesting. So if you look at this, so Ruotolo gets the takedown, but it's because RDR went for the guillotine there, right? He goes there to squeeze that guillotine or 10-finger choke, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, he loses position. So I still gave it to Ruotolo. I felt like Ruotolo did more throughout that whole thing, even though it was just positionally, I felt like he did more. Decent to watch, right? Especially for something that was all stand-up and just grappling like that with no submission threats. It was relatively interesting to watch. Maybe it's because I'm into that now. I don't know. I could you could probably skip this one if you're not into that sort of thing. I have a feeling a lot of people would be bored watching that. Not the most exciting. All right, Jackie Buntan versus Diandra Martin. Buntan with one good leg kick to start, and then Buntan using the hands, landing with the left hook. Buntan landing a hard left hook. Jackie was able to do pretty much whatever she wanted. Landing the hard left hook and then a right hand behind it, and then Buntan dropped her with the right hand. And holy shit! At this weight class, just what a hard shot. That right hand that drops her, and Martin's like, "Nah, I'm good. Like I'm good on that." Yeah, she hit so freaking hard. Great night of fights, to be honest. I had a blast watching this stuff. I thought it was really fun. Their presentation stuff, they still do this, letting people come out and, stamp dances all the time. So, but they have the big screens behind the people when they walk in, and it's just so much fun. Like they have they make it a big presentation, like it's a big event every single time. I like watching ONE FC. I like all of them now, to be honest. All the big ones. The UFC, obviously, we have a big fight coming up tonight, but we've got the UFC, Bellator, PFL, and ONE FC. I like all of them. I really do. It really comes down to how much time do I have in a weekend, right? It's not that I prefer. That's not true. I do prefer watching some over the others, but it might come down to scheduling or, UFC takes precedence just because it does. But yeah, I'll watch, and then sometimes, you've got, bare knuckle events or a boxing match that's really good that's thrown in there, and then I got to cover. So it's not that I don't want to watch more ONE FC. I do. It's just the time that it takes to watch all of them. And when there's already 3 or 4 events or maybe 5 events in a weekend, I just don't have time. And then sometimes I have other stuff to do on the weekend and not just watch fights or record. And I got to be more selective, and that's why I'll miss. But I just could not miss Demetrious Johnson fighting again. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Thank you guys for spending the time here. It means a lot to me. If you can subscribe, or if you do like this stuff, subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, press the like button. I'd appreciate it. If you're looking for the UFC, that's going to be in my next couple videos. I'll cover that from this weekend's fights. I have a huge back catalog, all my videos covering all the UFC events from the past few years. So if you were ever looking for a companion piece to an event you just watched, go ahead and pull up my video, and we'll talk. You can talk about it. If you go back and comment on my old videos, I'll still go back and I'll comment right back. Okay. If you want to talk about old fights that happened, I'm more than down for that stuff. I love discussing MMA, especially with people who are interested in it. So Peace. Love y'all. Have a great week.